In Kenosha, Wisconsin, a man named Jacob Blake was riding through his neighborhood on a Sunday when he saw two of his neighbors reportedly fighting. Now, according to numerous witnesses, he got out of his car and he tried to de-escalate the situation. He tried to break up the fight, and when Kenosha police arrived, this happened to Jacob Blake.
Wow.
They shot him in the back at close range 7 times. 7 times. Clearly, he was not dangerous. He was not armed. No evidence that he posed a threat to police officers. And they shot him at close range 7 different times, very clearly trying to murder him. This was an attempted murder by agents of the state, Kenosha police. They're supposed to be protecting citizens, and an individual who was trying to pursue peace, trying to de-escalate when he saw his neighbors fighting, ends up getting shot in the back 7 times by police officers. Now, I would say this is shocking and unbelievable, but in America, it's not shocking. It's not unbelievable. We've had ongoing Black Lives Matter protests since George Floyd was murdered because this keeps happening disproportionately to people of color, Black Americans. Now, one of the most disturbing elements of that story, besides the shooting itself, was the fact that Jacob Blake, he's a father of 6, and 3 of his children were in the car when police officers shot him in the back 7 times. They witnessed their father get shot by the police. So as trial lawyer Ben Crump tweets out, confirmed Jacob Blake's 3 sons were in the car he was getting into when Kenosha police shot him tonight. They saw a cop shoot their father. They will be traumatized forever. We cannot let officers violate their duty to protect us. Our kids deserve better. Yeah, and that is an understatement. I mean, what they experienced, this will be with them for the rest of their lives. Can you imagine being a young child and seeing that? Your father's trying to do something good, reportedly break up a fight, and when police get there, you should in theory be relieved because they can handle it and your dad can get back in the car. No, they shoot him 7 times in the back as he's walking away. Now, miraculously, Jacob Blake survived this shooting. I don't know how, after getting shot in the back 7 times that close, but he survived, and his cousin tweeted out, "Jacob is out of surgery and in the ICU. We will continue to pray as he fights. We will not excuse the actions of Kenosha Police Department, but his mother asks everyone to please remain peaceful." Now, his cousin also linked to a GoFundMe page to help with the cost of medical bills, because we know there's going to be a lot, and also with the cost of legal fees that will be needed for their family to take action. So I'm going to link you to that down below. They've already raised over $200,000 at the time I'm recording this video, so this is something that can help support the family, and I think it's absolutely crucial. Now, as for the officers, I mean, we saw the videotape. It's very clear that they tried to murder him. They have not been fired yet. They've been placed on administrative leave. Now, according to USA Today, in a statement early Monday, Wisconsin DOJ said the officers involved in the shooting had been placed on administrative leave. The state's Division of Criminal Investigation is heading up an investigation into the shooting and will seek to provide a report of the incident to the prosecutor within 30 days, according to the statement. Now, I don't think it's going to take 30 days for them to conduct an investigation when it's really obvious what happened. State agents who are supposed to protect citizens shot a man in the back 7 times. Pretty obvious, don't need 30 days nonetheless. I guess an investigation is certainly needed still to get more details, because I think more information is better. But, I mean, this is pretty cut and dry. He wasn't posing a threat to police officers, and they shot him 7 times in the back. Very, very obvious. who's in the wrong here. Now, the State Department of Justice has announced that they will be investigating as well, and they put out a statement, but the statement provided by the police states DOJ does not identify the officers. It also doesn't indicate why officers confronted Blake at the scene. DCI is leading this investigation and is assisted by Wisconsin State Patrol and Kenosha County Sheriff's Office, DOJ said in its statement. All involved law enforcement are fully cooperating with DCI during this investigation. So we really don't have much details. This just happened on Sunday, and I'm recording this on a Monday, so we're going to have to wait to see. However, according to NBC News and PBS NewsHour reporter Yamiche Alcindor, Governor Tony Evers and Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes today announced they're calling the Wisconsin State Legislature into a special session on policing, accountability, and transparency convening at noon on August 31st. The announcement comes after Jacob Blake, a black man, was shot repeatedly. So there's a lot of things happening currently. There's numerous investigations taking place. Details of that are still unclear to us. There's also state action. The legislature is going to be doing something. They're convening a special session. Hopefully something fruitful will come out of that. But immediately what we need to see is the police officers arrested, not placed on administrative leave, right? They should be held for attempted murder. And because that hasn't been the case, well, the community has been responding by overwhelmingly demanding action. Now, the day of the attempted murder, hundreds of protesters gathered outside of the Kenosha Police Department to demand action and accountability, and police officers in riot gear then showed up, armed with tear gas, and the city then tried to stop more people from gathering to protest. So they tried to create a sort of traffic jam using a dump truck in order to block more people from going to the police station, but then protesters set the dump truck on fire. And there were also protests in front of Kenosha County Courthouse, and the National Guard was then deployed by the state of Wisconsin, and some of the protests did in fact turn into riots. Now, once again, photographs of property damage are spreading. There is one video online of a protester throwing a brick at a police officer. And look, here's the thing. There's going to be a swift attempt to demonize the protesters because of the looting, right? There's going to be pearl clutching among the right because of property damage, but this is pretty cut and dry to me. If you are more concerned with property damage, the damage of inanimate objects, than you are about this attempted murder that we all saw on camera, then there's something wrong with you. Like your outrage meter detector in your body is broken. Because I don't care about property damage. I care about actual human life, which again was threatened by the very state entity that's supposed to protect civilians. That's what I care more about. Now, of course, predictably, whenever there's a victim of police brutality, conservatives try to demonize that individual, and Fox News, of course, acted quickly to try to vilify Jacob Blake. So if you've watched Fox News, as Media Matter points out, they're already pointing to his previous criminal record and possible arrest warrant that Kenosha police issued, to arrest him. So they're trying to find some sort of justification for this action. But the thing is that there is no justification for this action. Even if conservatives could somehow prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that Jacob Blake was a horrible human being, what we saw on camera is not justified. Police officers are not supposed to be the judge, jury, and executioners, right? They're supposed to protect citizens. So it doesn't matter if Jacob Blake had a previous criminal record. It doesn't matter if Jacob Blake had an arrest warrant. The details in this case, in that video, speak for themselves. He was walking away from police officers, and they shot him in the back 7 times. This is very easy to understand. I don't get what's not to understand with conservatives. This was pretty cut and dry, but of course, they try to do propaganda and apologia at the behest of police departments across the country because they are bootlickers. But what we saw was an attempted murder on camera. We all saw it. You saw the video. A man was walking away, was attempting to get in his car, and they shot him 7 fucking times. This is very, very clear. It's very clear. If you don't see it, then you're blinded by your own bias. A man was shot in the back 7 times in front of his children by the very police department that's supposed to be protecting him. And he was trying to break up a fight. So we don't have to talk about, the looting and the rioting. This wouldn't happen. The looting, the rioting would not happen if police violence against Black Americans wasn't happening. Actions have consequences. Communities respond when their people are under assault. I think that is a normal human reaction at the result of violence. The sight of violence against their own people, against this feeling of being insecure in their own neighborhoods by the very people who are supposed to protect them. So, regardless of all of the noise that you're going to hear and the partisanization already that's taking place with regard to this case, this is not a partisan issue. It's not partisan, regardless if people want to make it that way. It's very obvious what happened. An unarmed Black man was shot 7 times by police. Now, thankfully, he is going to survive. He survived this shooting, which is honestly a miracle in and of itself. It's shocking that he survived that, what we all saw. But he did survive. But that doesn't mean that it's any less egregious, that police officers shouldn't be held accountable. They tried to murder a man in front of his children. So, of course, they should be arrested. Anyone involved should be prosecuted. And this shouldn't be anything that's controversial. We should all be concerned with the safety of a citizen, Jacob Blake, who was trying to actually be a good citizen, try to stop a fight. But instead, of course, since everything is a political issue and a partisan issue, conservatives already want to make it seem as if he's a bad person. No, he's a father. He's a father. I don't care about any other details than what we saw in that video. He was shot in the back 7 times. And that's that. It's morally reprehensible, and we should all be outraged at the sight of what we saw and demand justice.